Have you ever stood perfectly still while the entire world rushed by? That was Elara's specialty, to be a statue in a river of movement. But on this particular Tuesday, soaked in weak London sunlight that promised warmth but never delivered, she wasn't the only one standing still. There was a man, a stranger in a grey coat, the colour of the sky before rain. And he was looking right at her. Not a glance, a look. The kind that doesn't see your clothes but sees the weight you're carrying. This isn't a story of a love that was. It's the story of a love that almost was. And sometimes that's the story that haunts you the longest. The train was delayed, but instead of frustration, a strange understanding passed between them. He smiled, a small wry smile, and gestured to the seat beside him. "Is this seat taken?" He didn't just say the words, he offered them like a key. "Only by my disappointment," she wanted to joke, but instead she just nodded and sat. His name was Liam. He was an archivist, a preserver of forgotten things, old maps, faded letters, photographs of people whose names were long gone. He said he liked the quiet, the dust motes dancing in the light of a reading lamp. No wonder he understood her so completely, even then. They talked, not about the weather, not about the delay, but about the poetry book in her hands, dog-eared on a page about lost chances. He quoted a line from it. He remembered things everyone else forgot. When the delay stretched to an hour, he stood and said, "I'm declaring a mutiny against this Tuesday. There's a cafe outside. They don't microwave their pastries." And she, Elara, who always had a plan, a schedule, a structure, followed him. Over coffee that tasted of cinnamon and real chocolate, she found herself sharing things she hadn't said in years. Not the big stories, not heartbreak or loss, but the small truths. That she hated alarms, that laughter that made you cry was her favourite kind, that she collected moments, not objects. He stirred his coffee slowly and smiled. "Maybe," he said, "that's why we recognise it in each other. That quiet." They never got on a train. They walked. He showed her his city through an archivist's eyes, hidden mosaics, forgotten doorways, the statue no one noticed. He wasn't showing off. He was sharing his secret world. And for Elara, the grey streets began to glow. The ordinary turned extraordinary. A cat sunning itself on a wall became a symbol of peace. The sound of church bells felt like music written just for them. He walked her to her door, not because she needed escorting, but because neither wanted to end the conversation. "This is it," she thought. "He'll ask for my number. He'll suggest dinner. This story is about to begin." But he didn't. He only said softly, "Some mornings are gifts, perfect self-contained gifts. Thank you for this one, Elara." Then he turned and walked away. That night, the silence of her apartment was deafening. The ghost of his smile lingered in every corner. So she did the only thing that made sense. She wrote. Not a love letter, but a life letter. She wrote about the cinnamon in the coffee, the way his hand brushed her hair back when the wind caught it, how that single touch sent a current through her entire body. She wrote about what it felt like to be seen, truly seen, for the first time in years. She wrote about the future they could have had, Sunday mornings, quiet laughter, the comfort of shared silence. "You felt like a prologue," she wrote, "to the best part of my life, and I'm terrified I've already reached the end." When the ink dried, she folded it. She sealed the envelope. And on the front, she wrote one word, Liam, but she never sent it. Some moments are too fragile to survive the real world. So she tucked it into her journal, a fossil of a feeling too beautiful to lose. Life, of course, went on. Elara dated again. A kind man, predictable, stable, safe. It was fine, comfortable. But every time she saw a man in a grey coat, her heart tripped over itself. Every museum, every train platform. She found herself searching. She told herself she was healed. But the truth, she was living in colour and seeing in black and white. The world had never looked the same since that morning. 3 years later, she returned to the same station, older, wiser, certain the past had softened into memory. And then she saw him, same bench, same grey coat. Only time had added a quiet tenderness to his face. Their eyes met. No shock, no words, just recognition. A slow, silent knowing that 3 years hadn't erased anything. He smiled, the same smile that had started it all. Greater than "I looked for you," he said, for weeks. "I came every Tuesday. I wrote you a letter," she whispered. He nodded. "I would have liked to have read it." He paused. "My father was sick that day. I got the call right after I left you. I had to go. I never came back. And suddenly everything made sense. It wasn't fate being cruel. It was life being life." He reached into his old leather satchel and handed her a small grey stone. "Greater than I found this on our walk," he said. "You kicked it with your shoe." I kept it. A preserved moment she took it. Cold, smooth, the simplest and most profound gift she'd ever been given. That night, Elara took out the letter. The paper had yellowed, the ink had faded, but she didn't need to read it. Every word was already carved into her memory. She lit a candle, and as the flame touched the paper, she smiled. She wasn't burning it out of grief, but out of gratitude. Some loves aren't meant to be lived. They're meant to be remembered, kept quietly here, in the heart. A letter never sent, not because she was afraid, but because some stories are too beautiful to have an ending. They remain a gentle, endless beginning. If this story found a home in your heart, then you belong here. Subscribe to English Love Stories, where every story is a heartbeat, and every heartbeat remembers a love that almost was. Tell me in the comments, what's one moment you've kept preserved, like a perfect smooth stone in your pocket? I'll be reading every single one.